Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. If you haven't already, make sure and hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you can keep track of when I post a new video and whenever I upload. Right now I don't have a specific schedule down, like I don't know what days I'm going to be posting, but I will be posting frequently enough a month, and I hope you guys subscribe so that you can keep track of when I do post a video, and hopefully my videos here on this channel will help you kind of pursue a hobby in photography. For those of you who haven't been here before, my name is Tasha. It's nice to meet you. I am interested in taking on photography as a career as well as a hobby, and this is my new channel. I plan on going to school for photography, but right now I'm working to kind of save up enough money to go back to school and actually pursue the career and get my diploma in a photography course. You want to have a lot of patience when doing photography because there is different techniques that you can do, and a lot of these require to have really good patience so that you can have a steady hand and your photo will turn out good. Today I'm going to be talking to you guys about different tips and techniques. It's more so like different techniques rather than giving you guys tips because every camera is different, and my notes are mainly based on my Canon Rebel T3i that I am currently not filming with. So to get started, I will be looking down. I do have a notebook with information, and it does have a lot of information that I do want to share with you, so please stay tuned and hopefully you can follow through with my notes. I want you guys to leave a comment down below and let me know if any of these tips and techniques have worked for you, if you actually knew about them before I mentioned them. So there is 20 different ones, and I'm going to basically give you the idea of how to take good pictures with them. So let's get straight on into the video with 20 different techniques and tips for you guys to figure out with your camera. And like I mentioned earlier, I use the Canon Rebel T3i, but I'm pretty sure these settings will work on other cameras as well. So the first technique is high-speed photography. So basically it's kind of like the photos that you would take of like running water or like raindrops, or like, you know, when you see in movies how there's rain and like somebody looking in the window, or your shutter speed should be between 1/160 and your f-stop should be between 10 and 14. So these do differ for different cameras, but that's what works for me. Here are some of my photos. The second technique is night photography, and these are just photos that you take at night. Generally, you want to use a tripod. Night photography, you know, like how you can take a picture of like the Toronto like setting with the CN Tower and the ROM and like Air Canada Centre and like a bunch of other places on the lake. You could take photos like that. I'll kind of insert some pictures here and show you these are just night photography. I haven't really done night photos because I don't really take pictures outside at night, just because usually I'm working, so my camera's usually not on me, but when it is, I will try and take some night photos and insert them as well in this video. The third technique is motion blur. So motion blur is basically like when you have somebody riding a bike and the background is just blurred out completely, or somebody doing a dance move and it's blurred out. This is a really cool technique. You can get like the motion blur of the person doing their dance or doing a ride by on a bicycle. It's pretty cool to actually be able to take motion blur photography. The fourth technique is black and white photography. This is something that's not exactly very popular, kind of like, it is but it isn't. I see a lot of like vintage photos that are black and white. I'll get on into that in a little bit. Black and white photography of like a subway or like a train station or something like that. Those are really nice photos. Black and white photography does stand out a lot, and I really like taking flower photos that are black and white. This is another really cool technique, and it's my 5th technique, and it's monochromatic color photography. I've never done this one, but I was outside earlier today and I was playing around with my settings on my camera, and it is a really cool technique to do. It just brings out the like story being told behind the photo really well, and it's really cool to look at. The 6th technique is smoke art, and it's basically where you just like take pictures of smoke. So whether you light I don't know, like you have a smoke machine and you take pictures standing in front of the smoke machine and you have the smoke behind you, or you do like what I really want to try, and I'm actually planning a photo shoot to do this. It's smoke bombs or smoke like little flare type things that you light off, and it gives you different colored of smoke art or smoke photography. It's really cool. It's an amazing technique. I really want to try this really badly. Unfortunately, you do need a license from the like fire department or like a permit to actually light these off in certain areas so that you don't get charged for lighting it because somebody called the cops. You guys can check out my Instagram to see some photos that I have taken with different techniques that I am talking about today. Number 7 is macro photography, and I absolutely love this technique. I use my phone to do a lot of this, but it's basically taking pictures of like really close up things. So like you have like a spider for an example, and you really want to get like the eyes of the spider and the legs of the spider, and you take a photo in the macro settings. Some cameras require a macro lens or a lens that is easy enough to be further away but be able to zoom in really well to take a photo, and I will insert some pretty cool techniques here that have been done in macro style. The next one is a long exposure, and I did try this technique out in Niagara Falls when I went a few years ago, and it's basically you just put a camera on a tripod and I did the long exposure video, but you can do it as well in the photography style, and it's just so cool and so nice looking, and you could take some really amazing photos with like the water falling and everything. It's just amazing. The next technique, and I believe this is the 9th technique, it is called a forced perspective photography. So basically it's making your subject a lot bigger than everything else around it. It's a really cool technique. I really want to try this in a photo shoot, and hopefully I can get around to that. I do know a couple people that will be interested in it, so I am going to try that out in a photo shoot. The 10th one is a panoramic, and this is very popular. It's very interesting to do, and it's, you know how you go from one end to another and you have the panogram of everything, and you can do this on a cell phone. You could do a lot of these on a cell phone, and cameras just make it so much easier to do and so much fun to actually sit there with the camera and film it all or take photos of everything. The next technique is a traffic light trail. Basically a highway full of lights. You have your highway, you have your car lights, you're standing on a bridge and you're looking down and you have like the buildings and your highway both ways, cars going both ways, and then you have more buildings on this side, you have your lights, you know, like all those kind of pictures you see of like the lights really blurred out, but you still have your object, and those are called light trail photography. So I'll insert more photos here just to kind of go along with how I'm explaining it because I'm probably not making any sense. The 12th technique is painting with light. I absolutely love doing this one. I tried it out with a sparkler and it's just so much fun to actually do. You do need a really good camera that has a really good f-stop on it and shutter speed, because this is really hard to do when you have a not so quick of a shutter speed. You need something that you can write with, like light to write with, and then take some pretty cool photos with that as well. The 13th technique is one that I've been doing for a while now, and this is just silhouette photography, and it's basically where you take a picture of, like, let's say you're looking at the water and you have your waterfall behind you, you're standing and there's like a gate type of thing behind you, and you're just blending in as a shadow, and it's so cool and so neat to take photos. And you can really do this with anything. You take pictures of trees and have the silhouette of a tree or a sunset. Like, I'll insert some of my pictures. The 14th technique is one that I mentioned earlier that you could do in black and white, and this is vintage photography, and you basically just take things from like that are really vintage, so like from the 70s and 80s, 60s and 50s, like going down, and you basically just take pictures with things like that. Take pictures of things that are vintage, and it will turn out really nice if you put them in black and white, like old cameras for an example. I really want to try this. And you basically just take a ton of different cameras and you put them in a nice setup that you like, and you take pictures and you make it black and white. So yeah, so that's another technique. Number 15 is pinhole photography, basically where you take a lens cap, you drill a hole in it, and you put it on your camera just so that it's like kind of like this, and you have like your pinhole, and then you have your photo or your subject behind it. I know doing this to my camera is a really bad example, but that's kind of how it goes. Another thing that you could do is probably like take like duct tape and put a pinhole in duct tape, and then put the duct tape, obviously with no, like 2 pieces of duct tape together, put a pinhole in it, and then put it up to your camera so that it basically has like a little pinhole. And you could use different things for this. That's my example. I don't know, black duct tape or electrical tape or something. Make a sheet of it and put them together so that there's no sticky parts, so that your camera doesn't get damaged, and make a pinhole. Number 16 is reflection photography. I did this one when I did my portfolio for school, and it's basically where you go and you take a picture of something that reflects. So my example would be my photos. It's basically, I take pictures of like buildings on water, reflecting on water, or like you looking in a puddle, like things like that. The building reflecting on water was my idea. The sticks reflecting on water is reflective as well. So those are just some of my pictures that I have. The next one is water drop photography, and I absolutely loved doing this type of technique. I spent almost my whole day, well, evening, maybe 3 hours in the evening, doing this one, and it's basically just taking pictures of water. It sounds weird, but it was raining outside, and I absolutely love this technique. It takes a lot of patience to do it, but you can hold down the shutter speed, the shutter, and it will take a ton of photos, and eventually one of those photos will turn out amazing. And here are some of my pictures that I took. 18th technique is zoom effect, blur effect. And this is just a really cool technique. It's where you take a picture, you have your subject, you have your zoom, your subject is like me, and then the background will be blurred, and it's just a cool technique. I've never tried it, but these are some of the examples, and it looks really cool. The lens flare effect is really cool too. You know how you get the lens and you have like the different colors of like round colors. You get this in videos a lot. That is really cool to do. It works with sun, like when you're reflecting off the sunlight. It's a pretty cool technique. I haven't really taken any photos, but if I can go through my files, I'll try and find some photos that have the lens flare effect. Finally, it's kinetic photography, and it's basically taking like string and a light and like moving the string and taking a picture of the light trail that goes by. It's kind of like the light trail photography, but this is pretty cool too. So that's basically it for this video. It is my first video up here on this channel. I hope you guys enjoyed, and stay tuned because I do have tons of other videos coming up for you. I hope you enjoyed the 20 techniques, and if you try them out, leave a comment down below and tell me which one you guys have tried out and which one is your favorite technique. Also, make sure you go check out my Instagram. It's Canadian photographer Tasha, and I will leave everything linked down below. Thank you guys again so much for watching. I will see you guys in another video. Bye!